Yeah, are we ready to go now?
Yep, I think so. I hope so. This meeting is being recorded. Should we take that? Leaving. Huh? Continue.
My name is Guy. So tonight we're gonna be talking about forgiveness here. Jachson's gonna present us the lecture. We don't have too much time.
That's good.
From 7 p.m. Our also so we always send your findings. Yes. So whatever you're doing at your own place and do your prayer, there something that can bring you some peace, even thoughts, reflections, Bible, and spiritual, and Bible, whatever brings you something to reflect on and try to bring the best out inside of you. So you can do with yourself, with your family, and here at PES, we all the work to solve whatever you're doing at night. We always recommend you to have your glass of water with you, so the water can be in your heart, knowing that you're going to be receiving however you do that. We have a lecture that starts now to about 8.
Something is going funny here again.
Bring the best of us
Um, yeah, we start. So I'm going to talk today about forgiveness will set you free. I hope those technology uncertainties will not take over. So I hope everything is go okay. So I will start with something from Hamed, which is almost a self-disclaim for the starting of their presentation. Okay. Um, look, we all look for peace and happiness, right? We always wish to keep suffering and bitterness away from ourselves. This is an utmost goal for all human beings. Right? Um, we all as well do our best. I'm talking about everybody without exception. You can think when whoever you think, okay, even a prisoner, even someone, okay, everybody try to do their best at the time and circumstances they are living, right? So the best depends on our understanding and circumstances we are living, as I said. So all actions are understandable and useful within their corresponding circumstances in life, whatever action. We always think that is the best we could do for ourselves. That's a general, okay? So the best, again, depends on the circumstances. So we always act in accordance to our current spiritual maturity. If we acted under influence of resentments and anger, it's because we thought it was the best we could do, right? So we give what we have and we do what we can. Okay, so based on that, we need to respect our mental, emotional, and spiritual limitations. And so those of our donor fellows, our brothers and sisters. So this is the beginning of the presentation with that statement from Hamed, which is wonderful, which put us in a perspective amongst all the others. So we put us humans. Okay, so let's start with forgiveness. Forgiveness, it's a non-verbal concept that's really hard to explain in words, right? We can best know about forgiveness when we experience it, right? So words best explain what forgiveness is not. So I'll give you some, imagine, sorry. Imagine that you have someone that you are or someone else was a victim of some kind of injustice, someone that, get into your rights or violate your dignity. This someone that stepped in your shoes, some boss that gave you a bad time, this will result in anger, resentment, hate, painful emotions. The more serious, the more intense and long-lasting anger and resentment. It may last actually even for years, right? So the person, the perpetrator, may not even know you, may not care, and may be even dead, right? So a psychologist, Stephen Hayes, suggested a that's a metaphor to describe the state of unforgiveness in relation to the perpetrator, right? It's like you are in a giant hook close to that person, but the person is close to the barb. Okay, that point there. The person is there and we're here. So the only way you are able to get out of the hook is if you leave that person out of the hook first. If you don't, you will remain that person. So this is an absolutely fantastic metaphor, because where you go, the person goes with you. So it's like you never forget that person. You always keep that person with you and you never let it go. So that's what this, psychologist show us in a metaphorical way. How is the effect of not letting it go have with us? It's not really bad to the person, but bad to us as well. So the cost of not allowing the offender off of the hook is perhaps a lifetime of misery for the person in unforgiveness. So this is a state of unforgiveness. It's you in the hook with the other person. And
when you forgive, it's not about setting that person free of her act or whatever she may have done to you. But when we forgive, it's about setting us free from that situation. Because then we're not gonna, as the example that you gave, we're not gonna be carrying that emotion with us everywhere we go. Even though sometimes it's not easy. But what the good spirits and everything that we study with people is point for us is that forgiveness is more for us. Yeah.
We're going through this. We're going through that. We're getting there. Yeah. Look, the interesting thing is we always think it's someone else with us in a hook, right? But it could be us. But look, could be nobody there. The perpetrator could be us, actually, when you do self-judgment. And the pain and the hate and resentment, it's replaced by guilt. So when there is another person there, it's pain, it's anger and resentment against that person. When it's us, ourselves in the hook with us, it's guilt. We don't forgive ourselves, keeping that guilt over and over and over, right? Well, on the spiritism, on the book on the spiritism, through the spiritism, we can see as well forgiven being mentioned in the Book of Spirits on the question 886 on the Spirit book, with the question, what is the true meaning of the word charity as Jesus understood it? And the Spirit says, benevolence towards everyone, indulgence towards the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses, right? In the chapter 10 as well of the Gospel according to Spiritism, there is in the chapter 10, item 2, there is a full things about forgive others so that God may forgive you. It's also in the Bible. So I remember there's a passage that said, oh, if you cannot forgive someone, how will you expect God to forgive you all the time? Keep forgiving you, if you yourself cannot forgive someone, right? Okay, so let's go. We have a long way to go. So when you do some mistake, how many times we pay for the mistake? 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Okay, remembering, being reminded We judge ourselves again and again. We are guilty again, and we punish ourselves repeatedly, right? And for others who did, every time you remember, we send them that message, this bad, vibration, okay, this emotional poison, and we feel down the injustice, and then we make them pay again and again for the same mistake. Is that justice? So this is not our job, and we have no right to do it. Okay, that probably have seen some literature, some place say, let God do it. Leave this with God. Okay, forgive and leave this with God. It's like the detachment from the anger. another kind of detachment. So it's our job to forgive, to love, to heal, and to grow, and of course, to forgive always. Right? This is our job. So, as you said before, to forgive is to set the prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. So that's a famous saying. All right. So, how can I start forgiving? Look, forgiveness is not an action or an attitude. It's a process of changing the way we view someone or something that has happened, a process of dissolving feelings of anger, resentment, and hatred. Okay, it's a development process where we start growing towards preparing ourselves to analyze, to reflect, and to forgive. It's a growing process.
Also, I think it's to accept yourself and also your state.
Well, it's a self-knowledge. It's a self-knowledge as well. So as you understand yourself, as you pardon yourself, you start as well pardon the others, understanding the others. So it's a self development where you then get more and more prepared for the forgiveness process. Forgiveness involves two components. One is let it go. Exactly. Yeah. So how many times, tell me, how many times did you caught yourself after having a big issue with someone who told that your work was not good? You charge too much for what you do that is even up to the scratch. How many times did you caught yourself think, she said this to me. Oh my God, I hurt it. Okay, but maybe not this situation, but some situation when someone got, and you keep ruminating it. And you keep talking and creating that theatrical representation where you say to them what you should have said. Listen, this is ruminating. This is keeping. This is, as the example says, as a scab. You scratch, and the more you scratch, the more it gets. The more you say, the more you think, the more you visualize, the more you elaborate, the more you get revenged virtually. Right? So let it go. Forget. I don't want to think, And the second thing is forgetting. Do not stuck in the past. move on. Okay, two main principles.
There is something I'm gonna get to that point.
Right now. Right now.
Oh, so you read my thoughts now?
Yes. No, keep going.
Because forgiving is about letting go and forward. But that doesn't mean that you don't have consequence of the acts that you suffer or that you make someone suffer. And I think that's sometimes the hard part for us to kind of say, not about punishment, but like, how can I forgive that person I'm gonna have consequences? I'm not saying just about like kind of too tough for you today, but like something more serious about ourselves.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
So sometimes it's harder for just, as you said, it's a process. But what we need to keep in our minds, it's a process that we are not alone.
Yeah. No.
We always have like.
You get together.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Okay. You get together. Yeah. Okay. So there are some negative perception of forgiveness, right? And one is apathy to others' mistakes. If you forgive, he forgave his, he doesn't. It's apathy. Or passive acceptance of abuse, offenses, manipulations, disrespect to personal rights and limits. That's the way it's perceived sometimes. Instead of compassion and understanding. Some people that doesn't look at that deep way, doesn't have this spiritual maturity and even, experience matured enough to see the compassion and understanding, you perceive as apathy or passive acceptance. It's a weak person, this kind of thing, right? So the compassion understanding is like the unconditional love. It's what mom do with the kids. Unconditional love. Doesn't matter what they do, we will always forgive them. Right? So it's in fact is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. This kind of mindset. So Hamed, Hamed presents a tool, one of the many tools. It's quite interesting tool. Probably some of you already use it, but it's a quite good tool about, it's called psychological distance or disconnection, right? This tool is to keep a certain psychological distance of the person or the discussion, or even of your own internal dialogues. It's like you step out, right? And so this eliminates the constant recallings to the bad facts, that would cause bias to your reflection. So give you time to reflect, give you a position for you to start thinking about that without being influenced by your, without the exaggerated interpretation or strange and imbalanced impulses. That will cause a profound inner tiredness. Sometimes you get really tired of of ruminating that thought. You get tired. So if you get a psychological distance of this, step out and look at from outside, you may be able to get the quietude required in your mind to be able to think clearly, right? So this is a productive use of your mental power. So we have to well use our capacity of constructing images. So we use it well as we use, instead of using how it would be, is gonna strangulated someone instead of image, you discuss, you get other more constructive. So it's called mental atmosphere renovation process. Mental atmosphere renovation process. This gives you a state of clearness, but it will unlock you from this mono idea of having this person and the way you figure out the situation. It's a mono idea locked on that. So you unlock that and give you engage you in a more constructive idealization. So you're going to understand what I'm talking about. So it's yeah, as I just said. So ways of engaging in that are two methods. I can provide you two methods. One is the therapy, is the pre-therapy, which rescuing your mental energy. So you forgive, we step out, pray. That's one way. You pray and you think, oh God, give me, I can see, I'm killing this person mentally, or I cannot stand that person. Please give me power, give me some strength to be able to stop, quiet my mind and think differently. Another one is coming from the Buddhism, and probably Giselle can give us some contribution, but not much, because otherwise I'll go bad on that one. It's called Metta Bhavana meditations. It's when you send positive things. They say, some people say, you give this person a gift. You try to reach, through meditation, their spiritual level. So people that sometimes recommend that kind of meditation, but they are not spiritualists. Sometimes they said, you put this person in a hypothetical world. That's what they call hypothetical world, because they don't believe much, but we do. In this hypothetical world, and send to their inner, the spirit, good thoughts. Say, you're going to understand it, you're going to grow, because just in case that it exists, they will grow, and you're giving that person a gift. It's a gift they will know on the very inner. So it's really a sort of different way of using your mental power.
Power of our thoughts.
Yeah.
And there are recent studies that prove that they separate two groups of people. And some groups have people praying and send vibrations and meditating for them, send them good thoughts and good vibrations. Not other group of sick people doesn't have anyone praying and whatever for those people. And a lot of studies around this scenario prove that people that receive praise and good thoughts, positive thoughts, that and I'm not talking about vision, but like the feeling that you want that person to know with comfort, those persons kind of elevate the race, and they become healthier on more speed, quicker than the others that don't have that group of people praying, meditating, sending thoughts. So we're getting there. Science is getting there.
Yeah. So as I gave you two tools, like one is praying, another one is the Buddha, I give a third one, which is sometimes I use. Look, if I have some bad time for someone, which is really, I would get into this vicious cycle of hating, of imagine myself, strangulate that, or giving a punch or something. Try to imagine that person. Try to imagine that person smiling. Try to imagine this person who you hated, let's say if it's a woman, with her baby or her child, being kind to them, giving love to them. That's the side of the person that you wouldn't thinking about looking when you are in a dispute position. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Everybody has that side. Why not look into it? That person you hate smiles, laughs, have sense of humor, is kind, not maybe towards you, but to someone. So it's actually a son of God, you know, a child of God. So that's another way of using of a power, mind power, to divert that vicious cycling of trying to kill the person. Right? That's quite good actually, because give you peace. Say, all right, I like to see that. I like to engage. Exactly. Very good. That's it. And then give you a different perspective and base to think about the process. Okay. So let's go, because I'm really so this process doesn't make you insensitive. Just because you step away, you now get this called mental psychological distance, right? It's not a process that turns you into insensitive and cold person, indifferent to criticisms and offenses, as it's in a state of no one will touch me or hurt me anymore. Like being, you know, how's called the word? Yeah, I forgot. Anyway, I don't know. Refractory. Yeah. Yeah, no, refractario. Yeah, something, yeah. It gives us chance to find new ways and tools of solving these difficulties from a more generic view, which I just discussed about. Okay, so maintaining such psychological distance, particularly from difficult people that are close to us, loved ones, doesn't mean we no longer care about them or love them or will not forgive them, but allow us to keep going in our life without losing our mind in an anxiety efforts to try to understand everything, to cope with everything, you know what I mean? And to surrender to issues, particularly with kids. We need to understand. I need to be understandable. No, just step out and, right? So we don't need to be a martyr. So that kind of process save us from that position. So it gives us an opportunity to see through new perspectives. So this is a tool given by Hamed, presented by Hamed. So how can I start forgiving? Understanding and respecting mental, emotional, and spiritual limitations. It brings back to our first slide. Remember the disclaimer? Right? So spiritual development dictates reactions and decisions. The more morally evolved is the spirit, the more capable of truly forgiveness. So I can see this relation with compassion. So if you see a child walking toward or doing something wrong, for example, you will easily feel compassion because it doesn't know what it's doing. Have you heard this phrase before? It doesn't know what they're doing. They do, yeah. Compassion. It doesn't mean that you are more evolved, that you are superior, but it means understanding. Okay. So forgive is the ability to understand difficulties. The question for you is very quickly, how necessary is regret to be present in the forgiving context? What is the regret? Someone regrets, someone remorse is necessary. Has to be present in the forgiving context. That helps a lot, isn't it? It helps a lot, but it's not necessary. Okay. Forgiveness cannot be dependent on whether the offender shows remorse for their actions. It's possible and often necessary to forgive regardless of whether the offender shows remorse or apologies. Yeah. So forgiveness is a commitment to engage in the tricky and sometimes long-term project of letting go of resentment and hatred towards someone. That's the objective, not getting their regrets or apologies. Helps, but not necessary. It's difficult, but that's an interesting statement. It's difficult, but empowers. Where is the empowerment coming from? It's the power of enabling forgiveness to happen, taken away from the offender. Because we always empower the offender to create our forgiveness depends the offender. No, it doesn't. We can create, we can make the forgiveness happen ourselves. We don't need the offender. Some people totally empower the offender. Oh, I only go to forgive or forget it if it apologies, if it recognize that's wrong. The offender is empowered. So interesting perspective. We are under control, in control. We can get ourselves right into that situation. So, as I said before, and let me see here. Another thing is, do we need to forgive someone? Say, I forgive you. Do we need to say, I forgive you? No, not necessary. And sometimes if you do, what you're doing is just playing resentment. You're putting yourself in the position of superiority, saying, I am good, I forgive you, you bad. Right? And this is in fact sometimes playing passive aggressive behavior, right? Which is not really good. The question as well is, if people say, I'm sorry all the time, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, keep it doing. I'm sorry, and oh, I'm sorry. I'm calling this banalization of the sorry. What do we do? Do not forgive. What should we do? Now, what you have to do? What you have to do is distinguish the social from the sincere, I am sorry. Right? So the question as well, that's a good one to easy to answer. Does forgiving imply socialize? Socialize? Yeah. No. Sometimes not recommended. For example, when there is domestic violence, you can forgive the perpetrator, but not socialize, because you are giving opportunity for them to do again. That's only one example. So not necessary, because what we want, what you're after is peace. Forgive, be in peace, but don't need to socialize.
Wrong interpretation of forgiveness, especially from the sacred books like the Bible. Make a lot of people suffering that they think they need to forgive and be back on the social place as the same person. And it's not about that. And especially as one of the cases that you made, that is domestic violence, when you do that from years having suffered because they kind of need to come out, forgive you, so I come back to you. And it's not about that. It's about setting free and go separate ways, and you be free of that weight in your shoes that you forgive, and that person will deal with whatever consequence of their acts on their own path without you. So that's great that today people start to reflect and see about forgiving something.
Okay, we're going beyond the time. I'm just advising that's going to be a bit longer than usual. So, the question as well, it maybe come to that is, should we always forgive straight away? Should we always forgive straight away? Not necessary. Sometimes anger is the process that we need to, okay? Yeah, let me tell you. Yeah. If you forgive or excuse someone straight away, you may not even actually forgive you. Okay, forgive, but what happens is it's unhealthy because you may then get all this tension inside in another person later on. So, agree with you, but you only, but what I'm saying is what my question was, should we always forgive straight away? But if there's no offense, there's no forgive. So that phrase doesn't exist. I'm saying is, if you are affected, you are not Chico Xavier, right? You get affected. You should, just because we said that forgive is good, etc., you should forgive straight away. That's the aim. Because if you don't have the, okay. But this, yeah, I agree with you, but that's an advanced stage where there is no, I know. And nobody here more than I know. No, right? So what I say is, I'm just to give you what I said. Look, the problem is buried emotions. Okay? Not verbalized may emerge in another situation in other people. It's like you say, it's in Portuguese. It's in Portuguese. I think everybody speaks Portuguese. It says, no? Okay. I will discharge in someone else. In Português, eu vou descarregar em alguém. Well, yeah. I will dump in someone else. That's what happened if you forgive it straight away. You slap it off. Okay, I forgive you. And then later on. Yeah. Exactly. But how do we fix it? How do we fix it? That situation of not forgiving immediately. We should establish limits, knowing ourselves better as the basis to validate our dignity. We're not Chico Xavier. Self-forgiveness, self-love, then you can start loving the others. Right? That's where you forgive, you do it. So let's keep going here because I am really in trouble already. So forgiveness is not just forgetting. Forgiveness is not excusing. I'm not going to elaborate more, right? Forgiveness does not involve telling yourself or the offender that what they did really is not that bad. And that it was okay for them to behave as they did. We need to, as you said before, remember that is, if you forgive someone, it must be with a clear consciousness that they did was not okay. Your forgiveness does not ever and should not ever remove the fact they behaved badly. If you decide their behavior was not morally wrong after all, then you are excusing them, not forgive them, as there is no moral offense to forgive. And forgiveness may not include pardoning. Okay, so you forgive, but you don't pardon. That's what you said. We don't let's you don't waive the consequences that this person needs to go through, right? So pardoning involves sparing the offender of the appropriate negative consequences of their actions. You're only pardoning the person when, and that actually comes the video I'm going to show you very quickly, okay? So let's go to the video. Oh, forgiveness does not necessarily entail reconciliation. We discussed that before. So I'll try to put this video now. I need to see if it's going to work. Oops. Back. This computer is hopeless. So I'll try to do this. Huh? Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. Just let me go back then to the presentation. You're right. Yes, I just forgot that. Okay. Okay. So if I hit control here, yes, that's it. I think it's going to happen now. Always probably there'll be some.
Stop sharing and then share again.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Share with Zoom.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should put this screen on that screen.
Yeah. But I just need to get this.
No, don't stop sharing yet.
Okay.
Just put this screen on that screen.
It's still going. Yeah, it's still coming. Yeah, it's coming now.
Drag the screen to them. Telephone. Let's see.
Oh. It's unbelievable, so slow.
Let's see. Essa isso, arrasta.
Tá pronto. Por outro lado. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I forgive you. I forgive you. Yeah, it's coming up. Huh? I cannot see anything here. I need to watch with you then. Okay, it's coming. Yeah. Then here. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it needs to play now. Anyway.
Anyone familiar with Italian opera or the plays of Shakespeare knows
I don't think we have bandwidth.
the terrible price paid for grudges, vendetta, and revenge. Under the sway of these emotions, painful incidents linger in the mind, sapping our ability to find peace and happiness. The 18th century English poet Alexander Pope gave us the antidote.
Take my
To err is human, to forgive divine. But finding a way to forgive without giving up our principles is often no easy task. In this course, I'm going to address what forgiveness is and how to implement it. I'll be speaking here about forgiveness where it is most often needed, in the context of your everyday personal life with family members, friends, coworkers, and business associates. One of our challenges in understanding this process is that the word
Sorry about that. Yeah, he talks, he explained the 3 types of forgiveness. Yeah, forgiving others. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a good thing. But anyway.
in the context of your everyday personal life with family members, friends, coworkers, and business associates. One of our challenges in understanding this process is that the word forgiveness is inadequate to explain a very complex concept. Forgiveness actually embodies 3 different things, each of which applies to different situations and provides different results. The 3 types of forgiveness are exoneration,
What?
You're right. Yes.
Hmm?
You're right. No, just
Did I? Control. This computer, I will never come. You never step here again. I forgive you, but you have consequences. No reconciliation. So this is a good example of taking the weight from your back. But yeah, so yeah, there was this something that I need to show you on that presentation. Let's see how God. Yeah, it's working. This will soon be it. There is a I need to put it back, otherwise I'm not remember. There are a number of steps you go. Okay, I don't remember in order now. It's like the same, similar to the when you were mourning, denial. Hmm? Okay, so it's trying to resuscitate here. Is it not working in the background? Yeah, I need to double click here.
press enter. Press enter.
Hmm?
Press enter.
Well, okay, we can finish that. Yeah, I'll put in the we put in the in our Facebook and our the presentation. It's coming up.
To talk to the IT guy that put the computer back together.
Yeah, no, it's something. What I'm going probably to do is rebuild it. Okay, let me go through this now. Okay, so back in business. Where is there? Okay, it's here. So we're giving. So I'm sharing with people. Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. You're getting there. It's too slow. Absolutely slow. I don't know what's in the background. Yeah, we got that. Okay, so what I was trying to show you is that how we the process we go through this. So the 5 process for forgiving someone else, right? We go to indignation, then we go through comprehension, then you go to compassion, mercy, and forgiveness. Right? Those are the normal. And to do with ourselves, right? We start with, we discussed before, guilt. Then we go to remorse. Then we go to repentance. Then we go to self-acceptance. And then renewed behavior. So that all the 3 R's of the Spiritisms, which is the repentance, repair, renewal. Remember that? Okay. The summary of the values is forgiveness can liberate the person, and it enables the person to transcend this perspective, right? So liberate the person from intense and proactive suffering, anger. So it makes you free, and also enables the person to transcend those perspectives and find a secure and more optimistic place for which we view the person's story and human conditions. Okay, so I think it's basically that's it. Some examples of forgiveness with my friend Mahatma Gandhi, and a huge example of forgiveness when he just went out of the prison and said that if I knew, as I walked out the door towards the gate, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hate it behind, I would still be in prison, which that the prisoner was you. Remember that phrase. And the biggest example, Jesus. All right, that's it. Thank you. Sorry about the computing. Yeah, I hope you forgive me. So that's a good example. The homework for you guys is to forgive me. Okay. So we still have some people at home. Do we? They're still there. Okay. All right. So. Yes. Sorry? Yeah. Oh, this word. Yes, yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 With the yeah, forgive. Yes, you come back. Yeah. 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 Oh, we're going to have a special son, or you're going to have a special father or mother as a result of the not forgetting. That's what happens sometimes. They come to reconciliate as friends, as boss and employee. This kind of relation happens sometimes. Something that happens in the past where the forgiven was not followed, accompanied with the forgetting. Is that what you say? Yeah. And forget. Yeah, together. Yes, yes. I'm saying when forget. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, as I said before, forgive is not just forget. You may forget but never forgive, but you may forgive and never. Well, there are some people that say you may forgive but never forget, because you don't forget because this is a lesson. This is some things that we may take advantage. No, then you didn't forgive. Yeah. 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 No, that's right. Yeah. 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 Thank you. Thank you for that insight. I'm not sure if anybody else has any insights. Gisele, Colleen? No. Okay. So let's move on. That's all now. Try to get in touch with our mentors. Let's have this gratitude in our heart for this moment, for this time, for being able to think about things we need to forgive. Be able to have the blessings of the forgiveness. And let's initially send the forgiveness to those who we still have issues with. Let get the inspiration from the works of this house to give us the blessings, to give us the energy, to give us the light, to send to those who we put the names on the box or even are in our mind now, who need this energy, this gift, these blessings to make their life better, to make their situation better, whatever situation it is. Let's as well send positive and high vibrations to this world, to the places where desperation, lack of love, solitude, suicidal things are there. Let's intensively send our energies to these places, to these people. Let's send energy to the mind of those that make decisions, the governance, the governance, from the places where justice needs to be made, to the places where people are suffering as a result of decisions made by someone or a group of people. Let's give them the light, let's give them the energy to make the decisions that will make our humanity better. Let's vibrate to those in prisons, vibrate for those in hospitals, the ones on the streets. Let's bring them, give them some light, some hope. And thankful to the mentors of this house, Pedro Emanuel, our mentor, and the workers of this house for givings and the blessings we're receiving now, to give them as well the possibility of pass that enlightenment, to pass that positive vibrations to others we meet during the week, to our family, to our close friends, to be able to carry the light of God, the light of Jesus the hope of Jesus will make us better. So let's finalize being thankful for the night we have today. So be it. Thanks, Colleen. Thanks, Giselle.
Thank you.
I hope you have
Thank you,
a lovely,
Jackson.